Okay, welcome everybody. I started calling these plogs, by the way, podcast style vlogs. Plogs
Yeah, it's gonna catch on.
hasn't caught on at all.
Really?
No,
Hmm.
0%.
I mean, it's so
Uh,
catchy, rolls off the tongue so well.
Thank you. I know.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed. So I have a friend who's been on this channel already. Kenny, thank you for joining today.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, he. The thing is, Kenny was like, I watched your vlogs a lot. Can I be in this one? There's a ghost too in the
Oh, that's
in your
Edison.
house.
He's coming
Is your
in.
house is your house haunted? I just
No.
covered that on this channel, haunted houses.
Haunted houses? Was it an
Um,
exciting one? Was it? Did you cover it right after Psychics
it
or?
was with it was with my friend Adam, and based on like Kevin's experiences of paranormal in the house I used to live in.
Mm.
So I be sure to check that one out. But yeah, Kenny has
I
been in a
forgot.
lot
What
of
was
my
her
videos.
name?
Penelope was the ghost in the
Penelope. That's
house.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I made
Yeah,
up,
she's
but
so
I
friendly.
believe
So
is
friendly.
true. She was
Friendly ghost,
friendly.
like a Casper. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great plug. People should check out that video, but after they've watched us talk.
I mean,
So
after they watch
obviously,
us talk, they're not gonna watch any of your other videos at all.
yeah.
Just done.
That's well, no, they'll watch our other ones that I'll mention that you were in. They'll watch
No,
those.
I think I'm gonna
Uh,
scare them away mostly. They're just like, why? Why are they
that's
doing
true.
this?
We should mention real quick. I'm just gonna mention this.
Hmm.
Kenny scares off Girl Scouts, and let me explain. Every year when they come by with cookies to sell, well, especially one year when because we met through
I was
bowling,
very strongly on a diet at that point,
and this Girl Scout came to our bowling lane when we
yeah,
were in a league
and she
and
just
pitched her
had
cookies to
all of the
sell.
good cookies. She had tagalongs and thin mints, and I eat thin mints by the sleeve, and
Well, me too. That's the only way to eat them.
this is the serving size. But yeah, she came by, and I thought that I said in a nice way, "Here's $20. I don't want any cookies," but apparently I said something different. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even what you just said, like, isn't the nicest to like a
Is it not?
9-year-old girl.
I mean, I just really didn't want her cookies. I wanted her to go away.
I
And
know.
apparently what I said was, here's $20, please go away.
Please go away. I think is
Yeah.
what you said. And then she looked like she was gonna cry.
Oh, well, she
Um,
got $20. It's like 4 boxes of cookies, I think.
the price, yeah. And then on our
Yeah.
last trip that we did last year before COVID hit the world, I almost said in all of its
Oh
glory.
yeah, I
It's
did
not
that
glory.
again.
We stopped at a gas station
Yeah, I
and
forgot about that.
I bought Thin Mints that I just discovered because we were about to hike this
Wait,
weekend,
that's
which
not the same
unfortunately
box of Thin Mints. It can't
there was a
be.
Thin Mint in my backpack from that trip. There was like two
Oh
in
my
the
God,
bottom of the bag.
those
Yeah.
cookies are well past any expiration date.
No, I ate them. It was fine. It was like, no, I'm kidding. I didn't eat them. I threw them away. Yeah, but I was like, these are a year old, like beyond a year, because we did that trip in January
Yeah, I don't
last
think
year.
they last. I mean, I don't know. I've never had. Anytime I get them, I eat them so quickly. I don't know if they
Yeah,
last or not. But
yeah. And I mean, you do donate to the Girl Scouts, so that is nice of you.
I
And I
mean,
think
I was a
you,
scout. I was a Boy Scout, and
right,
so it's important to like, you know, support them and let them do the same, give them the same chances at summer camps and all of that stuff that we did.
right. I was not a Boy Scout. That'll probably surprise you from our trips to the national
And you're
park
always
thing.
so prepared.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's shocking.
That's the motto. Um, Semper Fi.
Not that one.
No. This is not brought to you by La Croix. Is that how you pronounce it? But I'm
No one
drinking it.
says
Not
that.
brought. No sponsorships on this channel, surprisingly. All right. So moving on. Kenny and I have gone to lots of national parks together and various trails, and a lot of those videos are on this channel. So check those out because they're pretty good.
Should we list them?
By all means, you'll do
Okay,
probably
all
better
right.
than I will.
Oh, we went to Pinnacles in California. We went to Tetons in uh, Wyoming. We did Carlsbad Caverns in, is that New Mexico?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
Um,
a really good one.
we did Sedona in Arizona.
Yes. We also,
Um,
I mean, Grand Canyon.
oh, we did Grand Canyon. We did Zion.
Hmm.
So Grand Canyon in Arizona, Zion in Utah, Arches and Canyonlands in Utah.
We did Kolob Canyon, which that is my banner for the vlog channel at this moment.
I
So you're
forgot
welcome.
oh, that was that's on the other side of Zion. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
fun. That was good. Yeah,
yeah.
Utah.
Kolob Canyon is a good one.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said too? It's I use it as my banner for the vlog channel. It's on the background. It's you and me in front of that sign. So fun fact. Do you feel
Cool.
honored?
Sure. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Nice.
And then we also been to. I feel like we're missing one. We've also been to Yosemite, which that's a big one.
Oh, I
That,
forgot. Yeah,
yeah.
we there was a fire. We were
Yes.
almost not going to go, and then we had like a giant inferno of flames that we
Yeah.
went past on our way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inhaling lots of smoke the second
Yeah.
day, especially while hiking, which was not good.
Mendocino? Mariposa fire.
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that covers it. And then we had plans for or, more at other periods of time, and maybe even last year, although you had a crazy travel schedule last year, but then
I mean,
COVID hit and everything stopped.
yeah, nothing happened last year. Yeah.
But I'm
We were
hoping to hike with you again soon,
yeah,
obviously.
we were gonna do at least one or two trips last year, and then everything, you know,
Yeah.
COVID.
Everything just stopped.
Yeah.
So I'm really ready for the vaccine. I'll just throw that out there. So
Yeah,
that'll be
I think
nice.
everyone
Yeah, once
is.
that actually happens.
My parents are getting their second dose next weekend, so there
Oh,
will be
nice.
street legal in another like 15 days, 10 days after they get
Nice.
the shot. Yeah.
Very good. I had a dream the other night. Did I tell you this? No, I don't share all my dreams with you, I
Oh, you had
guess.
a dream? Oh, no. Tell me
I know
more.
you love hearing about them. This is like when we bowled all over again. Um, that I got the vaccine through, it was a liquid, and it was in like a, I love that Edison's going in. It was a liquid that I drank, like Trump said. Yeah, there's Edison.
Was it bleach?
Well, basically, same idea.
No.
Edison joined us in some of the videos too.
Well, you came to Zion
And
with us the first
he
time.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, you could bring dogs to some national parks. Some.
Well, there's only one trail in Zion that you can do with a
Yes.
dog. So
And we,
wouldn't recommend it unless you're camping there because they like the
yeah,
campsites are dog friendly. But yeah, otherwise there's not a lot for them to do, so it's a little harder.
right. And we saw a tarantula on that trail with Edison.
Yeah,
Fun
yeah,
fact.
so lucky.
And oh, and he's sneezing.
Yeah, he's
Um,
perpetually sneezing.
yeah, it's a life of a Pomeranian. Yeah. So in my dream, I took the vaccine. It was Johnson and Johnson in my dream.
Okay, why
Uh,
does that matter?
so I would love for anyone watching this right now. What just happened was the majority of the conversations I had with Kenny when we were bowling buddies, and somehow we still remain friends to this day. So I'm glad of
It's
that
just like
because
why
there's
is it?
usually
What is the
you're
point of the fact that it was Johnson and Johnson that's
I just thought that
relevant?
was very very detailed.
But why did
That
you
that was part of the dream.
why was that part of the dream?
I don't know.
Like
I
from
mean, dreams
everything
are
I've read,
complicated things.
if you have an option, you should not get that one.
This is on, right? This is yes, it's on.
That's why I'm
No,
wondering
I
why that
oh
one.
okay. Well, I don't know. It just stood out that it was good old J&J. That one's only one dose though. I didn't know where they say is the latest thing not to
Does
get that
anyone
one.
ever say J&J?
Cool people. So
All right.
I will mention one more thing, and we'll get started with our tips for planning for these trips. And then we'll also lightly touch on space travel because Kenny knows a lot about space, as do I. But real quick, if you want to see how Kenny and I met in more detail, I do cover that in our last trip to the Grand Canyon last year on a car ride and how I impressed him with my fitness skills. So check out
Oh
that video
yeah.
after this if you want that take. Long story short, Kenny was really impressed that I can do a lot of
Apparently
push-ups.
John can do a lot of push-ups.
Yeah, so check that out. It's in the videos. Anyway, so being that we've been on multiple trips together, we listed all the really cool national parks we've been to. I thought it'd be good to also share some learnings we had throughout. And a lot of these learnings are shared in the video. So this is the fourth pitch for those. Um, but I'll start kind of like with initially planning the trip, and we'll go into some of the mishaps of the during the trip. So I think with planning, a lot of that kind of more falls onto Kenny's plate,
Yeah,
and then
I'm
the
really bad
during the
at that.
trip is
Yeah,
my
for
issue.
sure. Yeah. I had a problem
Yeah.
with, you know, scheduling
Hmm.
things and, you know, actually deciding I was going to do something. And so John would say, "We're doing this weekend," and I'd say, "Sure, sure, 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 sure." And he'd buy his airfare and
Yeah. Early,
a
like
long
three
time
months
in
ahead.
advance,
Yeah.
yeah. And I would buy my airfare generally, you know, a month or so before. And so one of these trips, I think this was to um, Sedona.
Was it?
I think it was more one of the more recent ones.
Okay. I kind of forget which one this happened with.
Or maybe it was to Kolob.
Yeah, I think it was Kolob or Arches. I think it was Arches.
Arches.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, so on one of these like more recent trips, um, I had on my calendar, John shared the like sent me his flight information, and so I had this like Southwest flight on my calendar for months,
Hmm.
and so I guess I thought it was mine. I thought that
Right.
I'd bought the flight. I thought I was covered and everything, and I was like, wow, that's so adult of me having bought the flight well ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then day of, as I was driving to the airport for this flight, literally in the Uber on the way to the airport for this flight, I realized that that wasn't my flight. I didn't have a
No.
ticket for this flight,
No.
and I ended up buying a very last minute flight and got like one of the last two or three seats on the plane,
You did.
and
Yes.
also just like made it to the last call for the plane, barely got through security in time, and ended up actually making it out to where we were going. So
Yeah, luckily he
yeah,
did. For somebody like me who does plan ahead with the trip, like the getting there aspect, the travel
give
details,
you a
if you
heart
will.
attack basically every time, I think.
Yeah, there is a lot of. First of all, I knew a couple things. It was don't ask Kenny, did you do it?
I've never missed a flight.
You right. This time though, I am waiting in line. They're boarding the plane, and I think I was B group on Southwest, so there's already a lot of people who've boarded. And I'm just like, where is he? And so then he did make it, and then yeah, so he's and actually I held the seat for you. You sat next to me, I believe,
Hmm.
on that one, and then you explained to me as we were taking off that you bought your plane ticket on the Uber or Lyft that you took on the way to the airport. So I do think like a tip for anyone going on these trips, especially with other people, is like
Yeah,
book your
well,
ticket.
really, you just need to have at least one person who's a planner, and then
Yeah,
you
it
know, as
just
long as you've got the planner that kind of sets the parameters for the trip, then you
right.
know everyone else will be fine.
And yeah, and also if you're checking your phone, and it says you have the trip coming up, double check it's your ticket. I think that was Kenny's big lesson. Like, my ticket he thought was his. So
Mhm.
I don't think this happens. If please reply in the comments if anyone else has experienced this. I think this is unique to us. Um, okay, so then usually with that part, and then I usually would plan the rental car, which you definitely need a rental car for all these places if you're flying because all the parks are decently far from airports every time.
Oh, did you hear what's happening to Hertz?
Well, it's
They're
done,
like
right? It's bankrupt.
they're like going out of business. They're
Yeah.
going to cancel all their stock and everything.
Wow. Is that the
Yeah,
late? I heard that they were bankrupt, but I didn't hear
yeah, yeah. It's
that.
not no bueno right now. It's
Oh.
like, yeah. Anyway,
Well, another one bites the don't book Hertz then, I guess, or it won't be an option.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So with the rental car itself, I think one thing to figure out among your friends or whoever's going is, who is the ideal driver. For again, a lot of these parks are kind of in more obscure area.
You don't even need an ideal driver. You just need someone who's not terrible, really.
Right. So I'm not that. But we learned early on that, I
John
will
should
admit
never drive ever.
uh, I'm fine. I'm pretty good.
Mhm.
It's more I get sweaty palms if there are curves of any kind, like mountain curves, which all these parks
Just
you
to
have
give
to
you a
pat.
sense of John as a driver,
I don't
John
like where this
has
is
his
going.
seat all the way up so that he's like right up on his steering wheel like this. And he's got his like death grip on 10 and 2.
But
And he's just like, that's how he drives. And
well, first of all, 10 and 2 is what they teach you. I mean, that's what I was taught in driver's
yeah.
ed. Um, I do get sweaty palms on, again, mountain. There's always mountain passes that you're going through on these, and there will be semis you have to pass. Um, and sometimes the maps will tell you the wrong direction. Like you're in a very obscure area, and that happened on our. So for our first trip, our friendship was just blossoming into the beautiful thing it has
Yeah,
become
first
today.
national parks trip was Zion.
Was Zion, and at that point, I had never really driven us far anywhere, or anywhere, and that's when we
I mean,
realized,
you
because I
you've
was the
probably driven to like
driver.
Santa Clara Town Center. That's probably about
Yes. Well, I mean, that's a hot spot. That is the um that that's a great spot. Anyone should check that out if you're ever in Santa Clara. Uh, um, but I signed up as the driver. That was the same trip. Towards the end of the trip, first of all, like, yeah, there were a lot of issues with mountain roads, especially at night, with all the curve signs, and like you don't know when you're turning. That I had
It's not
problems
like
with.
they
I
suddenly
will admit,
appeared. It's like those mountain roads are just there.
they're
And,
there, but
some people can drive them like the fact that
right,
it's day and night, the fact that it's a mountain road,
yeah. So I,
it's just a driving condition.
yeah,
Some
I mean
people can
that
drive and some people are just, oh,
that
you know,
was that
one
was
and two.
I don't make that noise. Yeah,
You do.
in
Yeah.
that in your mind I do. I'm just oh. But I did get very sweaty palms, I remember, from that. And so I did have trouble parking us at a restaurant during Zion because it was a very tight little driveway. There's like a little strip by Zion National Park, and we went to a restaurant one time, and I did have trouble backing out or going into the space,
It took a
if you
90
recall.
point turn.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 90 point. That's
That's a normal
like
turn, right?
the Pythagorean theorem. It's good, right?
Something. Yeah.
Um, and towards the end of that same trip, Google Maps actually did direct us through like an obscure. We chose the alternate route,
We were
which
gonna go to the
don't
Grand
choose.
Canyon.
Yes.
And so like there's the route that goes on, it saves you like 10 minutes overall going on this like dirt road from basically Zion all the way, or I mean at least part of the way to the Grand Canyon. And John started driving and started trying to avoid some things. And we said, this is not a good idea. Let's just go to the highway and take the highway. We can make the highway work. It'll be like
Yeah.
about the same amount of time.
It did tell us to do that
And
as
you
an
turned
alternate.
you
Yeah.
turned around
Yes.
and then you started going back down this hill on this dirt
Yeah.
road.
Uh,
And then I told you to slam on the brakes. I like freaked out and you slammed on the brakes and you were inches away from sending us down into this giant trough that we
it
would
was
not have
true.
gotten out of.
That is very
We
true.
would have completely bottomed out and been stuck in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up. And again, that wasn't my fault because I didn't know there was a trough there. But major tip from this is, if you see a giant hole in the road, like, you
Don't
need to
drive into it.
stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so thank you for warning me to do that, because I don't know where my mind was at the time. I did almost drive us in there. But
Yeah. And
in a
at that
larger
point, we
sense,
decided Kenny will always be an additional driver,
yeah, not only additional, you'd be like the
the
main
primary driver.
primary
And
driver.
from
Yeah.
then on, I was the only driver
Yeah.
for the rest of the trips.
And it was great. It was great. You did a great job, except I remember one time I dozed off and you veered and you hit, how the sides of the road have the thing to wake you up, the bumps.
Uh,
No, you had to brake suddenly. It wasn't the veer into those. You had to brake suddenly.
I
'Cause
think I did that to wake you up. Like
Mm,
I actually like slammed on my horn and slammed on the brakes.
oh, did you? That's really mean. Because I woke up.
Yeah,
Remember, my
because you were
arms went out. Like
sleeping. Yeah,
I thought we were gonna have an accident right away, and I'm
it
surprised I
was
didn't in my pants, given that situation.
it was funny. I'm surprised you don't remember it better.
Oh, I remember it. I mean, the reaction, it was so traumatic. I don't remember every little detail, but be nice to your friends if you're the driver. That'd be my other tip. Don't
I
wake
mean,
them up in a
you're also
panic.
supposed to like hang out with the driver and not fall asleep on the driver.
I think so. This is a really interesting, touchy subject with road trips. I think the passenger does have the right to fall asleep for part, because I'm sure I was entertaining you for a lot of it, and entertaining you well. Between
Did
anecdotes and
that
King of
describe
Queens
our
references.
relationship ever? I feel like, come on.
Yeah, 'cause I think if you rewind, what I just said was I give you little anecdotes and King of Queens references.
Oh
So
yeah. So
yeah.
that's mhm.
Which, by the way, if you're hiking with a friend, always quote King of Queens as much as you can for them. I know Kenny loved that every time I did. I would repeat almost whole episodes
Well,
for a lot
I
of the
guess I'm getting
hikes.
onion rings.
See, he knows. I turned Kenny on to King of Queens. That was one of my major accomplishments from the trips that we did.
I've heard the same episodes from King and Queens more from John than I've ever seen any one episode of King of Queens.
Oh, you're welcome. That's so nice of you. Um, and so we covered the driving. So yes, you will be going on. The parks are always a little kind of far. That's the whole point. They're national parks. There's going to be
Some driving,
some driving, scary roads, I was gonna say. So get a good driver for that.
regular
Um,
roads.
Most parks are not. We touched on this. They're not very dog friendly. Zion, you had to discover that. Well, first of all, at the last minute, you're like, oh, I need to bring Edison. And then came to the realization we can't take him on most of the trails.
Yeah, there's a doggy kennel at Zion, and it worked out fine. And he's tiny and apparently got pampered, and he was fine. But I don't know, felt weird leaving him at a kennel. So
Weren't
we
we
haven't.
thinking of sneaking him into your backpack for that hike?
I don't. I don't remember if we
But
thought
Angel's
about that.
Landing would have been kind of
That would
scary
have
to
been
take him on.
dubious. Yeah, I feel like you don't want to have extra weight on you, like make yourself any more off balance than you normally are on Angel's Landing. It's already kind of heady.
Yeah. So another thing we should mention is Kenny has no fear, and who you're going like look up your trails before
I
you
have
go
a
on them.
healthy fear of heights.
So Kenny has I'd say like beyond health. Mine's a healthy fear. As I laugh
No,
as I say it.
you have a paralyzing fear of heights. There's a
I
difference
do.
between a
I
healthy fear
do.
of heights and a paralyzing fear of heights.
Yeah, I do. But I did make it pretty far. Angel's Landing is very high up.
Mhm.
And most of the tourists can do the switchbacks to get up there, which is what I did. And then you do have to, there's a sign that does say how many deaths have been on the continued part of Angel's Landing if you want to go see the best view of Angel's Landing. Because you have to grab a chain, one chain on a side, and then like climb a rock holding this chain, which you did no problem. I am halfway up this thing and I'm like, this is a huge mistake. I can't do this. So I tell you, I'm turning around as the tourists have to wait for people to get through this chain. So they're all
I
waiting for me.
recommend you go early in the day because it just gets
Yes.
more and more
Oh,
crowded throughout the day.
yeah. And there'll be
And
more
it,
people to
yeah.
just
So
like it'll
do
add pressure.
do it
Yeah.
early.
Yes. So
Also, if you're like going in a summer month, it gets really hot, so just
yes.
more incentive to do it early.
Oh, and it's so crowded before COVID, at least it was turning into like the most crowded national park. There's all these reports of like they had to like limit the buses. So let's see. Post COVID, if you're going there, just I don't know, keep an eye on crowd sizes if you can. But I remember the chain on the way back. My palm was super, super sweaty, and my water bottle almost dropped. And that like freaked me out because this is how many thousands of feet up. And then the people waiting for me were like, "Don't like, careful. Do you need help?" And I was like, "I think I got it." And I made it, and I just waited for you to enjoy the scary view, and I stayed at the less cool view lower. But these places have great views. You just have to remember a lot of them have heights. And I should mention, as part of that, we went to Arches National Park.
This one was great. Like, this wasn't even that steep, and we were at Landscape Arch, and there's a spot off the trail. I mean, it's on the trail. It goes up, and you have to climb a little bit. And John kind of chickened out a little bit.
Oh, big time. I turned around
Yeah.
again on that one. And
And I was at the top, and I'm like, I don't know when the next time is I'm going to be at this national park. I'm going to go, and I'll see you in a bit. And Sean interpreted that as I'm going to walk around for a little bit up there and then
a
come back
bit.
down.
Yeah.
And I went to the end of the trail and came back. And I saw, what was it, double arch, or I forget what it's called actually. Um,
Yeah, Double Arch. I'm looking at that right now. No, Double Arch is the one. I have a calendar right here.
hmm.
Double Arch is the one that's like very low and like tons of tourists can go to. But yes, there's another famous one.
It
Remember
has like
Double
had
Arch is like
two
near the entrance?
arches and an arch
Oh, then maybe
arch
that
like this. Oh,
was. Maybe
the
that
one you're thinking about is a window.
window. Okay, my
Yeah,
calendar is double. So I didn't get to see that. I was looking at that today, being like,
yeah,
I saw that. I didn't.
yeah,
I
no.
just saw
And
window arch.
anyway, we saw yeah. Anyway, I had a lot of fun. Took a lot of pictures, and I came back, and John was pretty pissed because I'd been gone for what
I
two
was
hours.
it was a
It was
long
bad.
time.
Honestly, like I look back
Sun
at
was
that, and I,
setting.
I feel bad. Like I'm sorry about
No,
that.
it's okay.
That's
Sun water under the arch.
yeah.
um, I'm laughing at my own bad joke. The sun was setting. I was getting very nervous about like when do I go back to the car, which was another like 30 minutes from where we were,
Yeah.
and then like do I just wait for you there because there's no remember this if you're going to them with someone. Cell reception does not
No
exist for the
bueno.
most part.
Yeah.
So you can't get in touch with someone through phone. It's just not going to happen. So we should have determined the exact time, like how long, like at whatever o'clock, I'll meet you at this exact spot. So that would be a lesson we both should have learned. I was super, super annoyed at you for that. I remember you came,
I could
I remember you
tell.
came back like, wow, that was so cool. And then you looked at me like, no. And I was like, get back down.
No, it
But
was bad. I really honestly should have been more more judicious and just like I shouldn't have gone all the way to the end. I should have just like hung out up there. There were a handful of arches that were up there too that I
mhm,
saw. And you got a good view of the valley and stuff,
mhm.
so like it would have been fine, but
You know what the thing is too, though. I know you didn't do it intentionally. Obviously, it's just something you didn't think of. So I actually couldn't even stay mad at you that
yeah.
long about it too. I remember even like as kind of like little silent treatment, little pouty as we're walking back to the car. But then like halfway on the way back to the car, I just was like, so anyway, how was it? Because I was like, I couldn't even stay mad because I was like, it's
I
not like
showed you
you
all the
intentionally
pictures.
had
Like
me
I was
wait
excited
there
to
for
show you the
right,
pictures.
right. And so luckily, you know, I got over it. It was fine. But I think we learned a great tip for other people, which is just determine a time
Have a
and
plan.
place.
Yeah.
And I think it's helpful to just have the plan for that. If at any time it's like, well, if we're lost if we don't see each other for like, let's say 30 minutes, go to this spot. This is the spot we'll meet, and by this time.
Mhm.
Otherwise, send out for help. Um, so yeah, didn't get to see those, but I saw a decent. Oh, the other thing at Arches, what's the famous arch? What's the main one? Like the one on the license plate for Utah?
Delicate?
Delicate Arch, right? That's the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So Delicate Arch. First of all, on all
There's
of
a
our videos,
pregnant woman.
yeah, I was gonna mention this. On all of our videos, I do mention this a lot because it's true. Like the cool part about a lot of the desert parks is it looks like you're on another looks like you're on another planet, which I say in every
Says
single
that in
video,
every
every
video.
single time.
You have that to look forward to if you watch the other
Watch
videos.
all the videos. It's like we're on another planet. Um, and then count how many times I say that. But we went to Delicate Arch, which has like almost like I'm gonna describe it as a toilet bowl um ring to get to it. Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
canyon that
All
it's
right.
on,
Yeah, it's like
kind
a
of like that.
horseshoe. Yeah.
Horseshoe, and you're up, but there's like a slow grade, and then an
Oh,
eventual
it
just like the
drops
grade
off.
ends
Yeah.
and it drops, and then there's like a little valley, tiny thing below. But most people could handle it.
It's
Kids,
like it's like
yeah,
30, 40 feet. So like when you
yeah,
say like a valley, it's like
right,
it's
not
not
that.
that. Yeah,
It still would hurt you a lot if you fell,
certainly.
most people were handling it just fine. I had my fear of heights come into play again, and I'm just like sticking to the side of the wall. I don't know. I should check that video again. I don't know what I recorded that day.
It's
Probably too
it's
scared
weird
to
because
record.
like it wasn't even that like it wasn't even a crazy slope. It's like maybe this, and he's
Mm,
like up here at the very edge holding onto the rim for dear life, and there are
yeah.
like people that are walking like 10, 15 feet over to the side of him, just
Yes.
like walking upright, not
Yeah.
holding on to
No
anything, and he
problem.
could not budge.
I wonder if I went now, if I
Same. He'd have the same
I don't
reaction. And
know, maybe I don't know how it affects heights, but maybe
hang
with
on,
my
Edison, I'll
anxiety
see that.
medication it would help. I don't know. But yeah, pick him up. I'll keep talking and I'll defend my side for this. Um yeah, so there was in fact and there was a pregnant woman. Sorry, you can join in again. So I just mentioned
Yeah.
there's a pregnant woman that you called out to me. That was handling it better than I was too, which that was a big like slap in the face that I was really sucking at this because little kids were handling it better too. And I think I'd like to try it again one day. I want to say I can do better than that the next time, but it's not so bad, I think. That's my other message to people. But again, check your fear of heights when you're going to these
There were also
things.
people that were at the arch that were like doing like handstands and pyramids and stuff, and like I felt like your stomach was like jumping up into your throat every time you were watching them take
That
pictures.
I'm
Yeah.
look, there's great spots to take pictures, and we took a good one at Sedona. I actually made it onto like an arch in Sedona. Okay, I was scared at first, but I went onto this like arch thing that gets maybe like 8 feet narrow. Remember when you went to Sedona, our last trip? I eventually took the picture on that part that's like the scary part.
Is this the like the one that had the multiple arches?
It's you go over. It's like one arch, one I think.
Okay.
But I was scared to do it at first. I took your picture, and then I did go. It's on my Instagram, so quick plug for that. If everyone wants to
Mhm.
check that out. Um,
Yeah, you
no
and
one
the
does, I know.
4 followers out there.
I was gonna say no
Yeah.
one does. But I I got a little better at that towards the end. But like just gauge your fear. And there were people on that one too, I was gonna say, that were doing like handstand things. Like be take a second if you're gonna do these like poses on these plates to kind of think about the surroundings and how high up you are.
They were not that like your fear
Mm.
for them was I think unjustified. Like there were
My Yeah, I was just about to say my this is the
yeah.
truth. My butthole was like as clenched as could be as I was watching, or cheeks, or both, really. What's the saying? Is it both? I don't even know where to go.
So
I was
anyway,
mentioning
um
buttholes. Let's go past that. Um, I'll mention some of my learnings too now. Now that we've covered uh, some of the things, but I mentioned this in most of the videos, so I won't go too in depth. But I don't plan well with water.
so I'd say that there are three main parts that you need to remember. Like if you're going on a hike, you should have well way more water than you need. Like
Yes,
you want to like at the very least have enough water, but you definitely don't want to run out.
yes,
And
and
for
one bottle won't
most,
do the trick.
well, that's what I'm saying is like you
Yeah,
probably want like depending on how long and how hot and how exposed your hike is,
and
you're gonna want to balance that. Like I'd say for the long day hikes, you probably want to have 5 liters at least.
and
I
the
drink a lot of water
elevation.
though. Yeah,
Yes,
that too. But like but do some research on the place you're going, figure out how hot it's going to be, how exposed it is, how long you're going to be in the sun, and based on and I guess it's also the grade, like how exhausting it's going to be. And based on all those things, try and estimate based on like how much you drink on a normal day hike or a short hike. Try and extrapolate out, and then
hmm
add a couple liters because like on a short hike you're not drinking as much as you probably should. So just keep that in mind. John's been pretty bad about running out
oh,
of water. Like we ran out of
terrible.
water in Tetons, ran out of water in Yosemite, and been
That
oh, and we also we're not great on water in Pinnacles, I think.
No, that was a very hot day.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was very
like
hot.
over 100 that day.
It was super hot. That was
It was
Satan's butthole.
that
Yeah,
was going back. See, it does go back to
yeah,
buttholes. Maybe that's how I'll start this
yeah.
video.
So that's one,
Yeah.
water. Two, bring a backpack that can hold all of the stuff that you need. So you need to have
hmm
something that can hold all of the water, hold any food that you need, hold maybe a light jacket. Um,
Jacket. Yes, I had to
there's
borrow yours.
for Tetons, I think John had a little like one of those drawstring backpacks, like not even a real backpack,
Oh, yeah.
and you had like 2 or 3 bottles of water,
Yes.
and
And I should have looked up elevation.
yeah, the
That's a key
combination of
thing.
those, like, I mean, but the
Elevation.
backpack itself was not good, but like, the
No.
fact that there wasn't enough water in
I
it, I think
think
is a big deal.
I think that string backpacks in general I
You
should
should
probably
just
stay away
not
from.
use, yeah, you should
Yeah.
not use that on a real hike.
Even on a
Yeah,
daily basis.
yeah. So there's that. And then for like Carlsbad Caverns, like the weather that you have where you start your journey from is not necessarily the weather that you have where you're going. And
Right.
even the
That's a good
weather where
point.
you're going, if you're going into a cave or something, like it's going to be much colder in the cave than it is outside. So if you're going to Carlsbad Caverns, bring a jacket.
Yeah, big time. I had to borrow yours. That's also in my Instagram. That's why I'm wearing orange because I know a lot of people follow my Instagram and they're probably like, why is John wearing
Orange
orange?
is a great color, so it probably did wonders for your following. You probably picked up a couple
That's
people just
true.
from that. Yeah.
Orange is the new color, as they say. That's like a Netflix show. um, the other thing to mention about Teton real quick was how just with the elevation, I did get what's that sickness? Not really sickness, but
You got a
dehydrated. I
lot
got
of,
dehydrated.
yeah, you
Yeah.
got like you were so we did 13 miles or something. Like we went
Yes.
far and it was you were exhausted and you had run out of water and then you ate an entire pizza.
Yeah, I was gonna mention. So
Yeah.
my end to this whole
No,
thing.
actually, before you got back, you the first thing you did is you went to the store
Yes.
at Jenny Lake
Yeah.
and you got 2 bottles of vitamin water,
Yes.
I think, and you just
I
drank
was
them
so
instantly.
thirsty.
And I was like,
Yeah.
that's sugar. You should
Yeah, I
be
know.
drinking like electrolytes and
Yeah.
drinking like
And I
regular
pulled like a
water.
Chris Farley. I'm just like, don't talk to me. I'm
Yeah,
drinking.
me too.
um, yeah, I should have just had water. Like I was just so, you want the electrolytes that are in your mind at least. Like I want like a Gatorade type of thing. So I just went for a very sugar water, which was mistake number one. I did in fact order, and I've done this not even after 13-mile hikes, just like after stressful days at work. And so this is very sad. A Domino's pizza for myself. I advise any single person to never do that. The danger is just too high. So I got the Domino's pizza, the breadsticks, and of course to add more carbs, the brownie. So I got the three things. We were staying in these like little cabins. So when the guy came, Kenny was gone because you actually talked to people on the trail better than
Yeah,
I did, and
yeah,
you went
like
off
you
with them
made
to
some
dinner, and I'm
friends.
like, yeah, and I'm like, I feel
I
awful.
don't
I am gonna eat
remember
my
their names at all.
feelings. Yeah,
Yeah.
you made some friends that,
I mean, it
hey,
was
if they're,
enough to hang out with and have like a meal with, have a drink
yeah,
with.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was fine.
Yeah.
I just went back to the cabin and ate my feelings as I usually do. And I when the guy came, I just was like, kids, the pizza's here. There were no kids, it's just me. And I've had to do that at my house too. So don't do that. Wow. Ooh, where do I go from there? Oh, I was gonna mention this. I feel like this happened on a recent trip. I think it was the one before the last one we did. Did I forget to pack socks or underwear or both?
There was one trip where you forgot to pack socks and we did swing by
We went to Target.
a was it a Target or a
It was a
Walmart?
Target. Walmart we went to once to get Subway on the way to
Oh yeah.
Zion, but it was
Okay. In
a
Hurricane.
Target.
In Hurricane.
Hurricane. That's
Yeah.
right. Yes. Um, so remember to pack your basics if you can. I've forgotten. There's one time I forgot underwear on a trip to Disneyland with my friends,
So
and
they just wore the same pair, just
I wore
rotate
the
it
same pair.
inside
That would
out.
have been smarter too, because I went on like Splash Mountain and stuff, and you're eating Disneyland food, which means there's probably a lot of bathroom trips, like burritos and things. I had to throw away the underwear when I got home. So I would just, and it wasn't,
Why didn't you just, you're an adult. Why didn't you just buy another pair of
so
underwear?
that's a great question. At the time, there was no Uber and Lyft. This is like 2000, you know, 10 or something. And
You had a
I,
rental car.
no, we had, I would have had to have called a cab. It would have been a whole production back then versus like the ease of like just using an app. And so I was like, there's got to be underwear at Disneyland.
Yeah,
It
you
was
should be
so
able
hard
to
to
get
find
like
underwear.
Mickey or like some
Yeah.
Disney underwear.
There
No?
was there were Disney boxers. That was like the only thing we could find, which was surprised. I thought there'd be more. They were $30. And I was like, I'm not paying $30 for this
So you'd rather
underwear.
just like
And so
stay,
I,
stew in your own filth
dude,
for
and yeah.
days?
And I'm not gonna say it was all my own filth. Like getting ride
All right,
water on it didn't help. Like Splash Mountain and Pirates water getting into my
this is gross.
pants. And so I would recommend pack the stuff. And then if you don't and you are in like access of socks or underwear, just buy it. Go ahead and buy it, even if it's overpriced. Because I should have bought it at Disneyland. So, but I did buy the sock. I always
You
make a
know
check.
how sometimes you tell stories and you like go into like a little bit more detail than other people want to hear?
Mm, no, I don't. No one's ever told me that.
Oh, all
I
right.
did. Can I just mention this once too? This is a side story. When we were bowling, I told Kenny about I had read on BuzzFeed how to eat a cupcake. And that you twist the cupcake in half to like not make it messy, and you put the cupcake on. And I think there's kids who watch this channel, so I won't use expletives, but I'm pretty sure you stared at my face. It was for this or the psychic story, and you just looked at me with disdain. Cupcakes was disdain. Psychics, I thought you were interested, and you said, "I don't give two." I'll say S words just because there are some kids who watch this.
That was definitely the psychic story. I don't
Yeah,
remember what I said for the cupcakes, but
you
I think
really were not into
I
it,
think
and
I
then
was frustrated at how you were telling me that it was the perfect way to eat a cupcake, and I was
yeah,
just like, don't tell me how to eat a cupcake. I'm gonna
yeah,
eat a cupcake however the hell I
you're
want to
like,
eat a
yeah,
cupcake.
yeah. No, lesson learned on my side. Like I don't think I ever told you how to eat anything ever again, but I just thought I'd share that as part of our friendship again. Um, okay, and then yeah, so really, I think making a checklist before a trip to one of these parks like national parks is super helpful. I honestly do. I think you should make a checklist because you're in it's like light survival mode, I'll call it. It's not really survival mode, but you're in the wilderness technically, and you should think about
You should
the
really follow
basics.
the 10 essentials. You should have like, you know, instead of having a GPS and compass with you, you can have your phone, and it's got
Yeah.
GPS on it, and that'll give you like general bearings on where you are as long as you cache the maps ahead of time. You need
Hmm.
water, you need
Hmm.
food, you need a light jacket. Um, just that's going to be most of what you need.
Hmm.
Um, so, but just make sure you have those
And
essentials.
look up where you're going and see if there's recommendations. I never do that. I honestly never do that. And as I'm saying it right now, that's something I should do and will with future. I never looked up. Shock. I know with like every experience you've had at all these parks, what you should for that specific area. Because just because they're national parks doesn't mean like it's a theme park where you're like safe all the time. And
Also, like, you shouldn't day of decide I'm gonna do a 13-mile hike. Like that's something that
yes,
you should
and
know ahead of time. And for that one, we actually did plan it, and we woke up very early, and we went around Jenny Lake very early to try and get onto the trail in time.
but we
So
still
like
ended up a little too far that day.
we it was too far, especially because like we were thinking like we weren't planning on going all the way to Lake Solitude, and then at
Yes,
that point we're like looking at our water reserves, and somebody
yes,
suggested that we just continue the loop, and you look
yes.
like you were going to punch somebody.
Okay, this is a part.
Yeah.
I really want to advocate for this. This is very important.
Well, we were also like you were low on water. Like at that
I
point
was
we
low on
had to
water.
go back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Follow your gut with like it's time to turn around because we had I should say Kenny befriended this group. I'm sure I was too miserable at that point. We met up with other hikers who so we formed this group. We end up in Lake Solitude, which is very high up in Teton, and
It was
I forget.
beautiful. I'd
Very
recommend
nice area
it.
though.
And like
Recommend
all
it
of the
if you are prepared.
wildflowers and the
Yes, that was
butterflies and
very
everything.
nice.
Yeah.
Very. It's like you're in Switzerland almost, or another planet. Um, but I'm sorry, I got so distracted by my own joke. Oh, okay. So then this guy in the group was like, "Let's keep going. Do you guys have flashlights on your phones?" And I was like, "Okay, I don't know how much battery I have on my phone. I didn't have a charger, which is another thing you should bring for your phone because you're out for so long." Um, I was the first one in the group to be like, "I'm turning around." And as soon as I said that, everyone agreed. No one wanted to go with this guy. So everyone was thinking it. So you know what? You can be the person, follow your gut. We got back. Good thing we turned when we did. We got back right at like sunset by the time we hit the
Yeah.
ferry area. Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
If we
Before I got
hadn't
my
caught that last ferry, we would have actually had to
yeah,
walk another like 2 miles to get around Jenny Lake. So it
right.
ended up, and at that point we were already exhausted.
Yeah.
So
Right. And at that point I was like, I'm gonna have my sugar drinks and then I'll have a nice salty pizza for dehydration because that
nice
should do the
brownie.
trick.
Yeah, nice
Yeah.
brownie.
Cheese and everything. This stops recording at an hour, so I think
Okay,
given how meaty of a topic traveling to space is, maybe we'll do that another day.
that sounds good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna play some board games with some people, but
Okay. So
this is
I don't want to keep you from that. So I'll close this out and I'll say goodbye to you. That will
okay.
not be part of the recording.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. As I mentioned, Kenny and I have done tons of other videos. Check those out. It's on this channel. I'm sure it's all great. And subscribe to my comedy channel, which Kenny's a huge fan of and he's been in. So if you want to see some great comedy, I'll put that also. I'll put it right here. And thanks, Kenny, for joining in these tips.
It's been my pleasure. It's been fun, and I'm sorry that you're moving so far away, and I mean, we'll still do the vlogs, I'm sure, but I'm
Yes,
sorry that we won't be hanging out in person as
I
much
know, me
anymore.
too. It's sad, but after this vaccine, we've got
National
to still
parks.
go
We'll do some
somewhere.
more.
Yes, I
Yeah.
want to go, so we will, and there'll
I'm
be
in.
more of this, and I'll learn my lesson, and I'll read what to do. That's my big thing. All
Sounds good.
right,
All right.
thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.